O'Sullivan is a writer and a reviewer of historical fiction. I met him on St. Patrick's Day at the Keys pub to discuss the novel he is currently writing. To the Tune of Drum and Musket is set in Ireland in 1690 at the time of the Battle of the Boyne. Gordon's book follows the lives of three main characters. Charles, a young Irish Catholic who is fighting to protect his family's dwindling lands. He wants to help James, the Catholic King of England, regain his throne. The second is Guillaume, a French Huguenot exiled from his country and his family because of his religion. He is fighting for the Protestant King William, revenge, and a home to call his own. The third character is Madeleine, a French Huguenot bookseller in Dublin they both fall in love with. She is simply trying to survive a brutal war in a country whose people she loves, but whose religion she does not share.
This is the most famous painting of the Battle of the Boyne, painted by Jan Vick, a Dutch painter who was actually at the battle. So he sketched it as it was actually happening, and then he obviously painted it later. What's interesting is you have William of Orange in the centre of the piece on a brown charger rather than the white charger, which is what you see on the iconography of Unionist Ireland. And then you can see all his general officers around him, and then further down you can see soldiers with their remounts. Now at the time, to train a cavalry horse would take 5 to 6 years because they were very specialised. They were trained to stamp down on soldiers, to bite, to kick out at soldiers in a very controlled manner. If your horse was killed, you had a remount. And remounts were very expensive and obviously very difficult to train, so it was imperative that you had a well-trained cavalry horse. And on the far side you can just see Jacobite troops firing.
So how long have you been working on your book?
In my mind and in research, probably quite a long time. I've been working actively on it for the past 2 years.
It's quite a long, lovely title, To the Tune of Drum and Musket. So where did that come from?
It actually comes from Macaulay's History of England, which is one of the ways he describes the Battle of the Boyne.
I've done several of my classes, including this, So You Want to Write a Novel and Workshop Your Fiction. Had you been working on your book already when you started coming?
Yes, I had started. I'd started writing different scenes, but I hadn't started writing it as a coherent whole.
Okay. And did you find them helpful in terms of writing the book?
Yes, they were very helpful. I think the main thing that they gave me was confidence. Writing such a solitary occupation, that when you actually get to interact with other writers at all sorts of different levels, it's great to get feedback, whether it's negative or critical or positive. It's great to get the feedback. Dongan reached the brow and looked back at his men. Lads, we smashed our Danish foes. Your bravery will be written about. Poets will chant about us. Form up, we'll finish those damn Vikings this time. The fire of battle was still raging, and the men gave out a great cheer like dogs baying for their prey, acclaiming him as their chieftain. Charles cheered along with them, giddy. He couldn't wait to get among the Danes again. Chirain waited patiently as he wiped blood from his coat, staining the grey uniform with a crimson beauty spot. Whose it was he had no idea. It was no matter to him. They had vanquished the Danes, and they might yet save the day for the Jacobites. Lord Dongan held his sword aloft, light brown with blood, and as he opened his mouth to shout, he vanished in a hail of earth and ordnance, a cannon round slamming into the ground in front of him. Charles saw the cannonball hop high, 18 hands high, and eviscerate his commanding officer. When the smoke cleared, where once was shouting leader was now a bloody mass. His head lolling on the earthen floor, his body straddling his screaming and dying horse. They all felt the tide turn. Charles heard the groan from all around. It came from his lips too. A trooper near him vomited at the sight of Dongan's corpse. Horses shrieked their riders' anguish. Charles was frozen in his horror. Someone shouted to save the body. The dragoons watched voiceless as Dongan's horse collapsed onto the ground and his body with it. His servants hurried forward to retrieve their master from the fallen beast. Charles stared as Dongan was picked up by the two dragoons and carried from the field, the fine uniform now soaked in blood and mud. In one beat of a drum, the regiment was rudderless and headless. The trumpeter was the first to turn horse and run, but he wasn't the last. In a dripping wave, gathering power from its own momentum, the regiment of dragoons began to dissipate, fold in on itself, and retreat.